What about take two? Oh my gosh. It's take two. I don't know what to do 'cause it's take two. Sometimes we gotta do take one, but then we gotta do take two. You know what I mean? 'Cause it's a fish show and sometimes everything's broken. Sometimes everything's broken at the beginning of the show. And I don't know what to do because it's broken and now it's working like it wasn't working before. It was working, but then it wasn't working, but now it's working again. And then it was broken, but now it's fixed. And we got it fixed, I think. I'm not sure. I don't know, but we'll find out if we go. Can you even hear that? This mic's so gangster. What's up, everybody? What's going on? Sorry about the technical startup there. We had a little problem. The microphone was not communicating with the computer, and the computer was not communicating with the microphone, and then we had a problem, and so I had to get out my dinner towel and whip it. I had to whip it into shape, you know what I mean? So sometimes you got to beat the computer over the head with a towel. Luckily, I've got a very fancy, nice-looking towel that makes me quite happy on a regular basis to clean my hands off with until it gets really messed up, and then we'll all be sad. The downside is I lost the early chat, but I do know that Frank Dominguez was first to the chat today. I think I opened up the chat area about, I don't know, 15 minutes before we went live. A lot of action, a lot of people showing up on a Monday. Hey, if y'all showing up on a Monday, don't you remember you gotta share the show out. And I think we've talked about. Hold on. Sorry about that. I had to turn down the other computer because watch out. Sometimes it gets super loud, makes loud noises in the background, and then I wonder what's going on. But like I was saying, I pretty consistently get, I almost always get the response when I'm like, hey, share the show out. People are like, I don't know, people probably won't like it. Which, hey man, I understand. I get it. Maybe this show isn't for everybody. I understand. But if you're somebody that likes it, just hop on. Throw the share out there. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. Go with it. You know, and if people are like, hey, you like this weirdo? And you'd be like, yeah. And they're like, I don't like that weirdo. And you're like, okay, cool. See you later. It's not a problem. It's not a big deal. You know, you could do it if you want. I mean, I suppose that you don't have to share things out. But, you know, if you're somebody like Frank Dominguez who shows up first to the chat, maybe you don't have to share it out because you have all the notifications turned on and you're just showing up. I don't know. I don't know how this works. Is it like, are you a subscriber who shows up on time and watches all the videos? Then you're absolved from sharing responsibility? Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. I wouldn't even know. I guess I'll have to think about it. I don't know. Either way, hey, we're trying to get the shares out there. We're trying to build the community here as best we can. We'll see what happens. As you guys know, today is the first of the month. So big shout out to all the patronizers out there. If you guys don't know what Patreon is, I know that there have been a lot of people out there that are confused about it. If you sponsor via the Patreon, it is a once-a-month charge. It is not per video or any of the other things that I've been seeing floating around the internet. Mainly just confusion. I think people are just a little bit confused as to what the Patreon is. It's how we crowdsource, and apparently they're doing maintenance right now on the website. So it's pretty cool to promote that when they're doing maintenance on the website. That's awesome, right? Ed's Fish says, oh, Patreon is down for maintenance. Yes, that does happen from time to time around the first of the month. It's normally down for an hour or two or something like that. They get the maintenance done, and then it comes back up. But Patreon is a third party website. It's how we fund doing this show. So there's 302 302. I think we're down to 302 people doing it on there. You know what I mean? Patronizing. Not doing it on there. What does that mean? The Patreonizers that are kicking in to help fund this show. Which is awesome. It's still awesome. And to be really honest with you guys, one of the things that the Patreon goes towards is me actually being able to show up to events, which the Aquatic Experience is coming up. I'm not sponsored by the Aquatic Experience. I don't really have anything to do with it other than I'm going to be there. I'm going to mess around with some of Chris Lucup and the shrimp thing that he's got going on. It's a shrimp contest, which is going to be cool. It was cool last year. I look forward to checking it out again this year. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by those guys or anything like that, so it actually is out of pocket, costing about, I think, like $1,200 at this point for the plane tickets and the hotel and the parking and the to and from the airport and all that kind of nonsense. So people kind of wonder, like, hey, what's the Patreon for? It's like, well, that's one of those things that, like, either I got to spend that directly out of pocket, but you guys have sponsored it. So there we go. That basically is what it boils down to, is that you guys have sponsored it, so I'm able to go, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's coming up in 3.5 weeks, something like that. Let's see, 2.5 weeks. Oh, yeah, I'll be leaving town just a little over 2 weeks from today. So that actually is coming up very, very soon. I'm excited to go out to New Jersey is where it's at this year. It's not in Chicago this year, so it's in New Jersey. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. When I was there last year. It was great to meet all the people. That was my favorite thing, was just meet the fans, talking with people, and that was the biggest fun. There obviously is a lot of like displays and that kind of stuff. Those were cool too. Don't get me wrong. I thought that was all great, but honestly, meeting the people was the biggest thing, and that's the funnest thing that I like doing. Miss Lininator is here, says she's a huge Chris Lucup fan. Did I spell his last name correctly? Nope, you didn't, but that's all right. You can see it's right above my head right here. Lukhaup. Right? It's confusing. It's German. You know what I mean? Like, so it's honestly surprising that his last name is that easy to spell, considering it's German, right? It's normally even harder. So it's going to be a lot of fun at the Aquatic Experience. Like I said, Alyssa is asking, what am I looking forward to at the Aquatic Experience? Meeting the people. That is the best. That is the best part of going, is meeting the fans, getting time to spend time with people, have conversations with you guys face to face. That is the awesomest. That's my favorite part, is meeting the people. That honestly is the funnest thing. There's not necessarily a lot of filming opportunities there, mainly because there's like 30 YouTubers that are going to be there, and all of their videos are all going to come out, and they're all, if I'm being really honest here, all of their videos are going to be the same-ish. You know what I mean? It's like, here's this display, and here's that display, and I ran into this person, and I ran into that person, and it's wandering around a convention. So, to be really honest, I don't think that I'm going to film that much when I go, but I definitely will probably make a short video. It's a fun event to go to because I get to meet the people. That honestly is the funnest part. I think it will also be pretty fun because some Dennerle reps will be there. They're sponsoring the shrimp contest, so that will be pretty cool. It'll be great to see Chris. It'll be great to see the rest of the people's names are escaping my mind right now. Sorry if I forgot anybody, but all the shrimp competition people and all that kind of stuff, hanging out with Flip Aquatics. Lucas is going to be there. Bob's going to be there. Schwisky's going to be there. Corey's going to be there. Aqua Pros is going to be there. So it's going to be a lot of fun, honestly, not only from, my friends are going to be there. All the fans are going to be there. It's going to be just a lot of fun for that. And plus, it's in a new location, so I've never been to the specific location, so that's kind of cool too. Maybe there'll be some fun video stuff around there. I don't know, but I know that people have been hitting me up to come do like fish room tours or store tours or something like that while I'm there, but there's not going to be a lot of time for that, honestly, because I think let me see what all right, I don't want to get misquoted here, but I know that last year, what experience hours. Okay, let's see what the hours are. The aquatic experience. Okay, what? Here we go. Yeah, so it's the 19th to the 21st. It's at the Meadowlands Exposition Center. I'm staying right near there, so I'll be able to like do all of the fun stuff that's wanted to do. Okay, so okay, hold on. Let me check this out. I know how to do this. Add source, screen capture, smart selection. Here we go. Technology. Look at this. I'll let you guys look at exactly what I'm looking at. So Friday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., the show floor is open. So Friday is going to be an all-day kind of thing. There's a fish health management course, which I don't necessarily think I'll be able to go to. There's a live shark encounter. Somebody's going to get live shark encountered. I don't know what that means. I've never been to that. There's a raffle drawing, and then legislative update opening night mixer. I don't know what the mixer is, but I'm guessing we're probably going to go out to dinner or something like that. That would be my guess. Saturday, October 20th is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then let's see, what else? 5 p.m. Aquascaping Awards. Oh, so actually the hours are a little more limited than they were last year. The floor hours are only 8 hours out of the day. So that actually might give us more time to kind of do fan stuff, maybe get food, that kind of stuff. So I'm not, sounds good to me. I don't know. So, I guess that just means that there might be availability to do a fish room tour or something like that. But to be honest with you, last year we'd get there at like 9 a.m. and then we'd be there till like 7 p.m. And we'd normally be there like an extra hour afterwards to like kind of clean up and organize things and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe that means that we won't be able to do any fish room tours or anything like that. So either way, let's see. Rum Bust with we got a bunch of super chats coming in today, you guys. So don't want to get wicked behind on the super chats. Rum Bust, big time supporter of the show. Thank you, brother. With the Swedish Krones 1601. It's always some kind of cryptic code, brother. I don't get it. I don't understand. But Ryan Brown with the $2.99 surprises. There's gonna be a lot of people yelling surprise at me again. I just know it. It's gonna happen. It's just probably gonna happen. I'm gonna be like, that was so last year. You guys are silly. Big Germ 86 with the $5 super chat saying, is it better to send money in super chat or Patreon? I don't know your percent of return. I love supporting the show. Thanks, Big Germ. To answer your question, Patreon is better in a different way, I guess. I suppose that if we get a lot of super chats, there are a lot of people out there with theories that YouTube is more on board with live streams that get lots of super chats. Whether I know that's true or not, I do know that they take 40% off the top. YouTube takes a lot. Patreon doesn't take that much. It's 5% and 5% for a total of 10%. So 5 of it's for the processing and 5 of it is so 5% is like for the credit card fees and all that kind of stuff, and then 5% is them hosting the site, whereas YouTube is around 40%, and YouTube holds on to the money for a long time. So if you guys are super chatting today, and I'm not complaining about it, I'm just telling you guys how it works. If you guys super chat today, it doesn't get deposited until the 25th, so it's October, November. So was that 7 weeks from now? Yeah, so it'll get paid out 7 weeks from now, which is fine. I don't. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just life, and it's not that big. You know, I don't complain about it. But honestly, the biggest aspect that I would consider that Patreon is a better deal is that I can honestly show the Patreon numbers to like a business person or something, right? So because I leave my Patreon as 100% full disclosure. Like, it was down for maintenance. I don't know if it's still down for maintenance. Yeah, it's down for maintenance right now. I don't know why. Obviously they're fixing something, you know, like very much at the moment they're fixing something. So it realistically, what happened? Oh, sorry, I stepped on something. It's the headphone jack thing. So what was I talking about? Oh, so if you go onto my Patreon, typically when the Patreon is up and working, you can see how many people are patronizing and how much it totals out to. So I could literally, like, let's say Fluval's tripping, and then I can actually show Fluval, because oftentimes in this day and age, companies will ask, they'll be like, well, how many subscribers do you have, right? And, you know, so as of today, we're at 17,785 subscribers, which we're still a small channel here. This is still a small, intimate group. This is a very intimate group here. I wouldn't consider my channel large at all. I think that, hold on, let me get the real count right now. Hold on, where'd it go? I've lost it. Where did it go? Okay, let's, hold on. Sorry, guys, this is going to take just a second, but will it be any good? Will the wait be worth it? I don't know, but let's see here. Let's go to Social Blade. If you guys don't know what Social Blade is, it's an analytical app that will let you know. So the rank of channel that we're at right now, out of all of the YouTube channels, how many subscribers we have, puts us at 374,788th channel. So there are 37,407. Man, I'm an idiot. So there are 374,000 channels with more subscribers in front. Does that make sense? There we go. I don't know why I was having so many problems like explaining that, but I don't know why I'm having issues reading that number out. But there are 374,000 channels with more subscribers in front of us. So that's why I'm like, hey buds, we should share this out. You know, we'd like to grow the community a little bit here, you know, grassroots. Let's go grassroots. I can't afford to pay Facebook. You know, I can't afford to pay Facebook or pay YouTube or pay AdSense or any of those companies to advertise. So we have to go grassroots around here. You know what I mean? So that's why I mentioned to you guys, like, hey, share it out. Maybe it brings in a couple more people and just a couple more people and a couple more people. So that's why I mentioned to share it out, because we don't have the income here to pay AdSense to, like, put it up onto Google search and stuff like that. If you guys don't know about any of that infrastructure, I don't blame you. But that's a lot of how things work these days. Like when you Google search stuff, when things come up to the top, it's generally because somebody paid. It's like somebody paid for it to be at the top. They either paid an ad company, to make sure it would be at the top, or they paid Google flat out to make sure it'd be the top result and stuff like that. So that's why I'm like, hey, grassroots bros. So yeah, it's just really one of those things. Tony Franzen says, don't step on Senior Chips. Mr. Chips is our, Biddy Brown used to be our mascot dog, but Mr. Chips has taken place of Biddy Brown because Biddy Brown is just kind of doing her own thing these days, out on the couch, barking at the door. But Mr. Chips is here with us. I don't know if I didn't set up the dog cam, you guys, because I haven't moved the office yet. So those of you guys that don't know the dog cam, I wonder if I can make the cord longer. Hold on. There's a camera bag in the way. Hold on to our horses. We're bringing technology to you guys. We're bringing the technology super hard aroundabouts here. And if you guys are wondering where this second camera came from, big thanks to my mom. It was a Christmas present from my mom, so this will actually be our let me see if I can't oh, here we go. I think I have it. I just need to go like this. Oh, no, that's not it. That's the Behringer. So, I got to add source. Let me see here. No, I want video. I want the other Logitech. Oh, here we go. Oh, there we go. Mr. Chips, right now, live. What are you doing, Mr. Chips? Whoop. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. We got the dog cam going live today. That took a minute. Was it worth it? Was it worth it to even to get the dog cam up? Oh, it's shaky. The video is super shaky because my hand. I've been drinking too much coffee, you guys. Oh, lordy, lordy. Okay, I'm going to turn the dog cam off. It's too hard to do that. But either way, thanks to Mom, we'll be getting a full-time dog cam set up. And we'll be having that, they'll be having that deal at some point in the future when I get the new office set up. But I got a bunch of stuff to move and all those things. So let me check up with the chat here a little bit. Miss Lininator with a $10 super chat says, for the aquatic experience, please say hello to Chris L for you, Chris Lukau. I could just text him right now and say hi, but I'll wait till after the show. You know how it goes. What is going on? People are blowing me up right now. I'm getting all sorts of texts. What is happening here? Oh, hold on. Come on, phone. I got the new phone that's super fancy. And you have to do everything with your finger. You have to hit it with your finger. Oh, okay. Biggie's at the dock. She had to swing by the... sorry. The whole reason I was speaking about Mr. Chips, we have to go to the vet here tonight. This evening, we have to go to the vet. So we're going to be going to the vet, get a little bit checked out. He hasn't been eating very well recently, so we're going to get a few things checked out with Mr. Chips, make sure he's doing well and doing all right. And I guess that's a Mr. Chips update. I don't know why. Lotad had a Mr. Brown's coffee for the first time. I have to say it's pretty good. Yeah, I like Mr. Brown's. It is adding a little weight around the middle. It's a little bit of sugar, you know what I mean? So probably got to cut them out. I got to cut them out a little bit. And plus, I ran out. I don't have any more, so I can't really have any more Mr. Brown's. Fearsome123 asked, did I miss anything? Not really. We had technical difficulties. You missed the dog cam, a bunch of super chats, and people just talking about stuff. We're going to go over to the video portion here in just a second, but I got to catch up with all these super chats we got going on. LG3 Nation says, hope the aquatic experience is shrimp-tastic. Oh, thanks, LG3, man. Always been supporting the show. Thanks, brother. Very much appreciate it. And I hope your job at the fish store is going well. I think that was the last update I got from you, that you had a fish store thing going on, and I hope it's going well. Honestly, I haven't gotten an update, but let's hear if you get an update. Let us know what's happening. Next Fish Room says, with a $2 Canadian super chat, says, new hip on Friday. We'll miss the show. We'll be here for the rehab. Oh, man, getting a hip replacement. That's pretty wild. But my friend Jean got her hip replaced about 2 years ago. And I have to admit, like, the recovery time and the surgery and all that stuff seems a lot less invasive these days than it used to be. So good luck, Nick, with the hip replacement. I think it should go well. From everything that I've seen recently about the hip surgery and all that kind of stuff, it's not as invasive as it used to be. And so good luck. I hope it goes well, though. I hope it goes well, and I imagine that it will. It doesn't seem like to be such a crazy surgery like it used to. They don't have to, like, they don't have to cut your whole leg off or any of that stuff like they used to. Just kidding. I know they don't cut your leg off, but it's actually a really small incision and stuff like that. So I hope it should be good. Terry's Tropical Tank says it's so skippy. It's like watching Mad Max Headroom. I don't know. Is the show skipping for everybody? I don't have any dropped frames. Everything's encoding properly. I wonder if, like, because I screwed up earlier, I wonder if that's messing with it. I don't know. It's a possibility. Let me see here. Gotta go to the video manager. Bentley says it's not skipping on his end. So maybe throw a refresh if you need to. That might be the deal. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and make this private. There we go. So we'll make that one private, and then hopefully that didn't screw anything up. Maybe that fixed some of the stuff. Maybe it's trying to do both at the same time or something like that. Because I didn't reset the whole thing. Jeremy H says it skips on Firefox. HC Aqua says it's skipping there. Big Germ says his quit skipping when it got on Wi-Fi. My parents' basement says no, it's good there. So I guess it's maybe intermittent. Maybe some people need to okay. People just refreshed and now it's not skipping. So maybe that's the deal. I'm seeing that that's from the most people that have refreshed. That maybe that's the big idea. Maybe that's the big problem. JS says no skipping for me, but Joel would make for an entertaining Mad Max impersonation. I would love to do Max Headroom impersonation. I'd rather do Mad Max, but unfortunately Tom Hardy got to do the reboot of Mad Max, which, by the way, I did not like the new one. I did not think it was that good, but that's just my opinion. I just didn't like it. I just didn't like the movie that much. I liked Tom Hardy. I liked all the actors in it and all that kind of stuff, but I just didn't enjoy the movie itself. I didn't like the direction that they went. Boop, 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 boo. All right. But we got to get to the video portion of the show before all the people with all the people that need the video portion, right? All the people that desperately need the video portion. We better get to the video portion or they leave, right? Alvin Alejo says if you super chat and hit the refresh button, it will clear everything up. Oh, I like it. That's funny. Hold on a minute. Sorry, my foot's falling asleep. Before we go to the video, yeah. I got to switch I was sitting on my foot and it fell asleep. It seems to happen. I'm pretty old now. But quickly, we got to get to a zombie drummer super chat here. A $5 super chat saying, hey, Fish fam, been a while. Still undead and keeping fish. Super good to hear from you, zombie drummer. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Maintaining your undead status. That is perfect and utterly fantastic. I love it. Great to hear it, and thanks for the support. Zombies, you guys don't know. You might not know. You don't know or you might not know. You may know. You may not know. There we go. That's a better way to put it. Zombie Drummer has been a big supporter of the show for quite a while now also, and that's awesome. Thank you much. Thank you much. Armenstra Patty says, you're starting to have that daddy look. Yeah, I've got that daddy look all about me. Till my daughter gets old enough, then I'll probably go back to, I'll probably go back to the mohawk and whatnot once my daughter gets old enough. I'll probably get a little more intense with my look again. I'll probably keep it subdued right now while she's a baby. We haven't had the baby yet, but so far so good. She has been doing quite well. Vicky is getting super pregnant, and honestly, my heart goes out to her. It is just not an easy task. Growing a baby inside of your body, there is just no way you could be like, oh, that's easy. It doesn't seem easy. It doesn't seem comfortable. It doesn't even seem remotely possible, but yet it is happening and it's going well. And I'm super stoked. I'm super stoked, and I definitely want to just keep rolling down the happy road of whatever you call it. Wait, what? Where did this? Okay. Yes. What's going on here? Okay. I have the plant here. It took a minute. Why didn't this goofy thing work? Okay. Copy. Sorry, guys. I have to copy the link here. Sorry about that. My bad. I got to go to the link generator and make a link that the internet doesn't get mad at me for, because I have to make a little tiny link. Otherwise, Google gets super mad because it doesn't want you guys going away. Here's a link to the plant that I am trimming today. There it is right there. You'll notice that link takes you to the Aquarium Co-op. As you guys know, that's where I buy and acquire a lot of my products from Corey over at the Aquarium Co-op. Love those guys. Love what they're doing over there. Fantastic company. Great place if you are in the United States to order plants from. I don't know about the international people, though. I'm really trying to source some of the international stuff, but boy howdy, we got a big planet. Got a big planet that we're living on, and it's very confusing, and I've yet to be able to source like a good place to send you to if you're in Luxembourg or Paris. I would guess the Dennerle plants and that kind of stuff in Europe, but I don't know. I don't know, you guys. It's just a little bit weird. We got another super chat here from LG3 Nation. It says, I had to settle for a support tech job at a research facility in San Diego. Unfortunately, better pay won out over working at a fish store. Ooh, that's understandable, though. That's understandable, and as you guys know, I've gotten a lot of flack over the years. I show you guys how to DIY some stuff, from time to time, how to build some things, how to fix some things, how to set things up and stuff like that. But I am almost always of the opinion that, doing the DIY stuff, unless you want to learn the specifics of something, by building it yourself. I get that. I fully understand. I fully understand if that's what you want to do. You want to learn something, and that's the main commodity that you're going for. I get that. But I always try to remind people that oftentimes you aren't going to save money from going the DIY route. Mainly because you're just going to run into so many hassles and headaches and timeline issues and all that kind of stuff. I just recommend people to maybe just work on your professional side a little bit, try to earn a couple more bucks and buy the good products. That's, it's really difficult to compete if you guys are if you're buying like old dish racks from the dollar store and trying to make a filter out of it, whereas a company out there is investing, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, into research and development of a product that will work pretty well for you, and it's only going to cost like $39.99 for you to get into it, like $40, right? That's that really is going to make your life a little bit easier. You know what I mean? There's a lot of research and stuff that goes into things, and to devalue that is a little bit weird, and right now we're in a position where a lot of products are pretty cheap, so it's just one of those things. I've definitely tried to just explain that portion to people, that like maybe you could just work an extra shift and make that $100 or $200 and get something awesome. I love building things myself. It's something that I love to do, and I recommend it to people if they want to learn. I just always try to remind people that it's not going to be a way to save money, because that's normally what a lot of people going into it are like, oh, I'm going to save a bunch of money because I'm going to dirt my aquarium with some, potting soil, and you're going to have to buy some, pool sand and some gravel and this and that and the other thing. That kind of stuff, it's just really not going to save you the money. I think realistically, people getting in, they're like, I don't understand why you tell people to get Fluval Stratum. It's like, because in my opinion, it's easy to work with. It's a good long-term solution. And you don't really have to know what you're doing necessarily to make that product work for you. It's like, you could spend, $30 to $50 and have plenty of it for, for the project that you could be working on. And then just head off in the right direction and be like growing plants and stuff. So, Kiwi Mamo says, you make that look so easy. When I do it, I play plant and catch, repeat till it stays. Yeah, it's just practice. You know what I mean? Like I've practiced planting plants a lot, and I kind of do it a lot. So it's definitely something that that I find to be a lot easier. I find it much easier to plant a tank to a certain degree if the tank is full. Honestly, I work on full tanks so much more often than I work on empty tanks. You know what I mean? If like, oftentimes I see a lot of people setting up aquariums, they do the hardscape, they don't fill them, and then they just plant all the plants in there, and then they slowly fill the tank up. I find that to be frustrating, actually. Like, working in a tank that's not full of water, I find to be more frustrating than working on a tank that's full of water. It is less stressful on my back, honestly, not having to lean all the way over a full tank, but, like, I just find planting an empty tank more stressful, honestly. Let's see. Barbara Jackson says, building your own is best if you have a weird situation that no one has built a commercial one. Otherwise, why reinvent the wheel? Yeah, that definitely is one of those things that, it's like building the double stand. So I guess, spoiler alert, the two 120s are in the fish room getting ready to plumb. And I'm making a video of doing the plumbing so that you guys can see a detailed explanation of how the tank gets plumbed, because I don't feel that plumbing is DIY. Plumbing is something that needs to be built, so it's something that I think people should learn. I think that's a perfect example. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that, try to explain the products. I don't know. I haven't been finding that my I don't know. I was about to say something goofy. So let me rethink that. It has become a little bit discouraging just how many videos I have up at this point, and then just how much they just don't get viewed. Just to be brutally honest, I mean, that realistically does get kind of discouraging sometimes, but not to look at the glass like it's half empty. I'm still working on that plumbing video, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that, explain the the bulkheads to you and all that kind of stuff. And you, hopefully it'll be informative, and hopefully people will like it and watch it. I mean, really, that's just what it boils down to. Well, Patreon was up, and then now it's back down again. I don't know why. They're doing some kind of maintenance. They're refreshing something there. I don't know why. Vexing Cat with a $10 super chat. Whoa, going big. Going big up into the yellow super chats. Well, thank you very much. Just just throwing down some $10. Well, thank you very much. Let's see. Fish Tropics asking, you ever use any type of liquid CO2? I have used liquid CO2 in the past. I don't find it to be a very economical situation when, getting a good regulator and, operating from the gas tanks. It really works. It's much more cost effective than using the liquid stuff. Rarely, if ever, I'll use the liquid stuff dosing for basically killing off BBA, which sometimes things just get out of hand and I have to get the glutaraldehyde, which is the main thing that's in liquid CO2, which is actually an algicide. It actually is something that kills algae, right? It doesn't work on all of the types of algae, but sometimes BBA gets out of hand in a tank that maybe didn't have any maintenance on it for a long time, or maybe the lights were configured in a weird way that were, whatever it is that it could have gotten it out of hand, and occasionally I do that, but I don't find adding CO2 to the tank with the liquid stuff is very cost effective, because you realistically are going to run through it really quickly, and it's just a big reoccurring cost. So it's a little bit stressful that way. In that situation, it's a little bit stressful because of that, but it does work. It certainly does work, and it definitely helps out, but it's just not the greatest thing. Jonathan Tiki is asking, would you recommend for me to change my sand substrate to EcoComplete or Fluval? I have some Anubias and plan to get more plants. I have some shrimp and neon tetra, so I don't know what to do. I would say realistically, if you're going to be adding more plants, like carpeting plants, stem plants, stuff like that, I think you'll have a lot more success replacing the sand to either EcoComplete or Fluval. I like both of those substrates. They're both really good. It just comes down to, I guess, personal preference, cost. I would remind people that EcoComplete is more expensive than Fluval by volume, which is honestly, when you're setting up an aquarium, volume of your substrate is the most important thing to measure, right? It's not necessarily how much the bag weighs. It's really the volume of substrate that you're getting per cost. And I do find that the Fluval Stratum is a better deal by volume and not by weight, because it is a fairly lightweight substrate, so the bags aren't that heavy. Jason says, agreed, tinkering and DIY is a sweet way to learn. After putting together a DIY solution, I often end up buying the commercial version and modding it. Yes, like I said, doing the DIY stuff is great. It's a great way to learn, all that kind of stuff. But if you're a person that's going into the DIY stuff like you're going to save money, that's where you're going to run into real problems. So I would always bear that in mind. Maxwell Sonneman says, I couldn't sleep at night if I did plumbing. Yeah, that always can be a problem, that's for sure. Fish Tropic Corvus, would you say it kills most plants? Liquid CO2? No, I haven't found liquid CO2 to kill most plants. I have heard reports of people dosing CO2 and it killing plants. I have never seen that personally myself, so I'm not sure what they got going on. Vexing Cat says, important question. I had a bunch of driftwood that I soaked for a few months in one tank. It didn't fungus up, but after a week placing it in another aquarium, it did. So the first thing there would be, is it the white sort of wispy fungus? If that's the case, I certainly wouldn't be stressed out about it. It probably has a lot to do with specific bacterial cultures that you have in the tank. So it probably has something to do with that. Like you maybe moved it to another tank that has some more aggressive bacteria, something along those lines. Maybe the water parameters are a little bit different in it, and it allowed that fungus to take over. I'm never worried about the fungus that grows from putting driftwood into a tank, mainly because most fish find it to be delicious and tasty, and they eat most of it, or snails and shrimp will eat it. So it's not that big of a deal. Jonathan Tiki says, how would I go about changing it, and would I move the fish? Basically, I would just keep your filter waterlogged. Basically, keep water in your filter, take it off, take everything out of the tank, keep your fish in 5-gallon buckets while you rescape the tank, redo it, put the new substrate in, and scape it, fill it back up, turn the filtration back on, the bacteria will colonize, and you'll be pretty good. I mean, I just wouldn't add any fish for a couple of days after you did it. I wouldn't add any new fish. There we go. I wouldn't add any new fish right after you got done with it. Over the next couple of days, I would just allow it to cycle back up again, and then you'll be pretty good to go from there. I've done it many times myself, and you're just basically rescaping. You just have to go all the way down to nothing in there, and then put it all back in. But just keep everything underwater. That's plants and stuff like that, and fish, and you should be good to go. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. Ed's Fish, weird question. Ever use glycerin with a touch of water for acrylic paint retarder? I have. I didn't find it to be incredibly helpful for me. When we're talking about acrylic paint can actually more often than not, about 90% of the time, can be actually watered down with just distilled water. And the reason for that is you don't want to use tap water, because tap water typically has minerals and things in it that can cause it to dry weirdly. But acrylic paint can be watered down 90% of the time. I'm not saying all of the time, but more often than not, it does work. One of the products that I use that is glycerin based is it's called GAC 500. It's glycerin something something. I don't think it says what's in here exactly, but it is a glycerin product, and one of the downsides with it is that it will change its drying, whether it's glossy or supposed to be matte or this or that. It'll change that, and it also changes the viscosity of the paint. So I'd bear that in mind. It's a little more drippy after the fact. Rhinos Aquatics, what is up? I have to admit, I see Rhinos Aquatics. I see your name pop up, and I think it's Rhino gear, because the avatar picture plus the Rhino looks a lot like Rhino camera gear. And if anybody knows what Rhino camera gear is, it's super expensive camera gear. It's like cranes and gimbals and stuff like that. And Vicky actually knows those guys. Let's see. Rhino camera gear. Ultimate slider bundle. So let me see here. And they're in Puyallup. They're actually really cool. But like I said, their stuff is like super expensive, fancy paint stuff. Or not fancy paint stuff, fancy photo stuff. And really like their stuff, but whenever I see your thing, I always think of those guys. Anyhow, what you said was, if I heavily stock a tank with jungle val, would that be okay for fully grown fully grown clown loaches and bala sharks? I would say yes, in my opinion. It would be fine. If you're talking about jungle val, I would let it get established a little bit before you go adding those fish. They'll have a tendency to rip stuff up out of the substrate that's not fully rooted. You know what I mean? So you definitely want to get it in there, let it start growing, let it get established, and then kind of go from there, add the fish in, and, go that route. Let's see here. Pumpkin Spice Aquatics says, I was at my local fish store and bought some bundles of Rotala. Had no idea how many stems were there until I got home. I have like 50 stems left. Will they survive floating? How long? Yes, almost every plant that you have will survive floating for a really long time. Oftentimes, you guys know that I float my plants. I'll either throw a plant weight on them or something like that and allow them to root in the tank the tank or the sump of the tank that they're going to go in. It's part of the conversion that I take into account for if I just got a plant or something like that. I kind of want it to acclimate to my water before I plant it. I'll often either float them or weight them down and let them send some roots out. And once they send some roots out, that's when I get busy planting. I'll get busy planting those new plants. So that's one of the things that I do with new plants to bring them in. I find it a much easier way for the plants to get ready and sort of, acclimate to the water. Whatever my water parameters are, they can acclimate to the water, and it's a little bit easier on the plants to do that transition from one end to the other. So I find that to be a way, and they definitely can last a really long time. As you notice, most stores just drop the plants in there with a weight on them and leave them there for sometimes months and months and months at a time. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Barbara Jackson says, I'm thinking of putting CO2 in my community tank. Some of my plants are not thriving. Scarlet Temple and a tiny leaved Rotala are stunted and twisty. Easy Green and Iron weekly, and root tabs every 6 weeks in small gravel. Well, I would say... Barbara says she's got a Fluval 2.0 on there, so you probably have lots of light, realistically. It sounds like you have a lot of availability of fertilizers. I don't know that CO2 missing, it has potential to be a problem. It could be a problem depending on what your tap water is like. You could just be like over mineralized, which could be causing a problem for the uptake for the plants. But adding CO2 is generally not a bad idea. I'm just saying 90% of the time adding CO2 is a good idea. It makes it a lot easier on your plants to have that readily available carbon so that they can photosynthesize properly. The photosynthetic process is essentially they'll take whatever free molecule that they're picking up and combine those with the carbon from the CO2. That's essentially the building block. The energy comes from the light. The light is the energy source in which they use. It's definitely a way to go. So I would say for sure, think about it. If it's something that you could financially do, I wouldn't put yourself in the poorhouse to get CO2. So would I think that it's 100% necessary? No, I wouldn't think it's 100% necessary, especially from my own advice that is, hey, if you could financially do it, I would. If it's going to cause a problem financially, then I wouldn't worry about it too much and just keep rolling the way that you're going. I would consider the amount of light time that you got going on, and I would start to test the water at your nitrate level and find out where your nitrate level is. You might be running out. Essentially of fertilizers and nutrients before the end of the road. Creedmoor Aquatics says, having only dirted tanks definitely makes me jealous watching Joel pull up all those stems out of the substrate with almost no mess. Yeah, dirted tanks are just not a great idea. I will put it to you this way. I guess maybe this might make it a little bit easier to digest. Do you guys see any pros setting up dirted aquariums? And I'm not talking about random people on the internet or something like that. I'm just saying, do you see any of the pros that are paid to do aquascapes or installations or stuff like that? If if you see any of those guys doing dirted aquariums, I mean, you just really don't. You just really don't see those pros doing them that way. They don't set them up that way because most of them have tried it and found that it to be not that successful. So that's really the deal. It's not like they don't know about it, you know. It's not that they don't know that it's something that could happen, right? And they don't know that it's something that they could do. They normally just skip over it. Barbara says, it is heavily planted. I may need to dose more often. Thanks, Joel and everyone. I'll test more often. Yeah, I would be testing with the setup that you have. What I would be testing for is nitrate. I would see where the nitrate level is going. You might be just underdosing fertilizer realistically. It could definitely be a thing that could be going on. Creedmoor Aquatics. Oh, sorry. I just got done answering that. Sorry, somebody was spamming the chat and it moved the chat all along all crazy. Alex Netter dude. Alex N. There we go. Alex Ned. There we go. Can you move an established carpeting plant from one tank to another? I want to turn two small Celestial Pearl Danio tanks into one large one. Yeah, you can. You certainly can. The one downside to moving a carpeting plant that is fully carpeted is that you're going to have to pull it all out and then replant it like it was just like when you got that pot. When you got that potted plant, originally from the store and you had to separate all the stems and individually plant each part, that's what you're going to have to do again. Now you actually have the advantage of having a lot of that plant, so you can just take the time and individually plant a ton of it, and then it will fill in quite rapidly. So 100% that's the route that you're going to have to go, and I would go that route if it was my tank for sure. So, hopefully that makes sense for you. Does that make sense for you? You definitely can move it, but just it's going to be time consuming, that's for sure. Let's see. Creedmoor says, number one thing I enjoy about dirted is it's set it and forget it once, and then the plant load, you just have to really forget it and change and never change anything. Well, yeah, I mean, if you've read the Wallstad method, that's who invented the dirted aquarium, is Diana Wallstad back in the day, back in the 70s, I think, is when she came up with that. The process of doing that. I think a dirted tank is viable, certainly a viable setup if it is something that you're essentially going to set up an aquarium, heavily plant it, and really not have any filtration on it and stuff like that. If you've read the Wallstad method, it highlights that's exactly what you need to do if you are following that method. That's basically the way that it works well, is just think of a real jungle thick tank of plants with no filters on it or anything like that, no real high-tech lights, any of that kind of stuff. You just have to leave it to be really independent and that kind of stuff. So you start adding CO2 and LED lights and crazy cool filters and a lot of flow and all this stuff going on. It realistically is going to be kind of a mess. Alex says, so just treat it like you bought new plants. Was kind of scared it would end up killing it off. I wouldn't say that it's going to kill it off, but I would just treat it like getting new plants. Yeah, you just move it to the new tank like that. You guys know I move plants from tank to tank all the time, which actually does tie in with the question we got. Somebody was asking about quarantining. Who was asking that? Rhinos was asking, should you quarantine plants? Personally, every once in a while, I do a quick dip. So I'll do something like Melifix or maybe even some salt water or something like that. Just a quick dip that's only like a minute, like 60 seconds. Nothing crazy long. If I think that this may or may not have come from a place that was... had something that I didn't want or whatever, but it's pretty rare. Normally I just drop them into a bucket and kind of just rinse them off. That's basically all of the prep that I do, but sometimes I do like a Melifix Pimafix dip. I especially do that with my corals and stuff, so I'm not as concerned on the freshwater end of things that could be brought into the tank. I have very little paranoia as to what could be, transmuted from one tank to another tank via plants. It's not something I'm hyper paranoid about. Probably end up shooting myself in the foot by saying that, but I just years and years not really that worried about it realistically. Let's see. Who's asking? Tampa Tom was asking if Tampa Tom was asking who would win in a fight, a rhino versus an elephant. Well, a rhino versus an elephant, I think realistically that just depends situationally. If an elephant is actually defending an area, then I would say that the elephant would win, just on the basis that they are much more powerful than rhinos. Rhinos are extremely powerful, but elephants are a lot more powerful than rhinos. But rhinos are much more angry and run straight at things, and they get upset way more. And elephants would probably just step out of the way. So I guess, elephants would just avoid it, I think, more often than not. But might be a battle. Somebody, let's see. Money would be on the hippopotamus. Bentley says money would be on the hippopotamus. I think for sure I'd put my money on hippos too, because they are always territorial 100% of the time, and they definitely kill a lot of things, which is unfortunate because they're so cute. They're the cutest things ever seen. And, Candy is asking what plant is in front of the Stellatus octopus. I cannot remember at this moment. Do I have my notes here? Nope, I don't have my notes. Where did my notes go? And to those of you that are wondering, do I keep notes? Yes, I try to keep notes as much as possible, because I can't remember what plant that is off the top of my head. I have quite a few in this tank. Where did my notes go? Well, I have no idea where my notes went. Notes, where'd you go? I don't know. I just had to add another hard drive to this computer, and now things are moved around. I don't know. I'll get back to you, Candy. Since you're one of the mods, I could just let you know later. Off the top of my head right now, I'm spacing out on what that plant is off the top of my head. Just being honest, that's how I roll here. Can't remember. Let's see. Ashley Stepanowski says, how do you recommend acclimating shipped fish? Shipped fish, 100% of the time, get them out of the bag right away. Get them out of the bag as soon as possible. They need to be into clean water as soon as possible. But that would be freshwater fish. They need to 100% get out of that dirty bag water as much as possible. Bentley says, is that the pogo you got from I got from you? No, that's actually on the right-hand side of the tank. That's on the other side of the tank. That's why I'm like, I'm having a total brain fart of what plant that is right now. And I got to look at my notes, because it's a really weird. I got it from what's his name? Tyler? Something like that. Random guy I bought some plants from a while ago that I really haven't had any conversations with since. And I can't remember what it is, but I got it in my notes. I'll let you guys know on the Wednesday show or something like that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we were talking about acclimating shipped fish. Okay, so when I used to work at the saltwater store, it's a little bit different when you get saltwater fish in. But when you get saltwater fish in, the first thing that we would do is the moment that we open the bags, we would dump in like a cup's worth of prime. Just like, here's all the prime that you could have ever. And when I say like a cup's worth, I mean like a cup's worth. I mean like 8 ounces of prime. It would be the first thing that we would do as soon as those boxes got in. We'd open the bag. As soon as the bag was open, we'd already have the prime ready before you'd even open the bag. And then we'd open up the bag, prime every single bag that we got open, and with a lot of prime, and then allow them to kind of detoxify the water a little bit, because with the saltwater fish, it was really going to take drip acclimation. I see a lot of people doing drip acclimation for freshwater fish, and I don't think that there's a lot of value there for freshwater fish. Unless the bag was super cold, I would float the bag with the freshwater fish. I would typically float the bag in the tank to get their temperature up a little bit, but I certainly wouldn't bring, like, let's say that the bag was at like 50 degrees. I wouldn't bring it all the way up to 85 degrees. I would bring it up to like 70 or something like that, and then get them out of the bag as far as freshwater goes. Saltwater, on the other hand, there's so many more things going on with saltwater, including the salinity of the water and stuff like that, that yes, we would definitely have to drip acclimate them and test the water. We'd see what's going on with the salinity, what's going on with the ammonia, stuff like that, see what's happening with the water, and then from there start a drip into the tank that they were going into, which, was going to be a quarantine to a degree. Some of the fish that we get in wouldn't go into quarantine. The actual tanks that the sail tanks that they were going to go in was the tank that they're going to go in. So definitely drip acclimation on saltwater fish. I see a lot of people doing drip acclimation on shrimp. I don't find that to be of a lot of value, personally. I brought shrimp. We brought shrimp back from Germany, which I haven't shown you guys those shrimp, mainly because I just want to see if I can get them breeding and stuff like that. And they're in the 150 here and really hard to find. So that's the other reason I haven't shown them to you. That's the other issue that I haven't shown them to you yet. But when it came time to get them into the tank, I opened up their bags. I dumped out the water. I kind of gave them a little freshwater dip to kind of knock whatever was on them off, and got them moved right into the tank. Dropped them right into the tank. Let them just be in some nice clean water and start swimming around and do their thing. So I get that a lot of people do the drip acclimation with shrimp and stuff like that, but with freshwater stuff, I just realistically get it out of the bag as soon as possible and get it into a nice healthy tank for them to be in. So that's the way that I do freshwater. Saltwater obviously is different, and I could probably go into that, but I know that we don't have a ton of saltwater people here in the chat, so I don't want to bug you and make you lose your minds. But as Terry's Tropical Tank says, plop and drop. Yes. If stuff's been in a bag for 2 to 3 days, it's just time to get it out of that bag, and get it going. There's actually, you can see a crystal shrimp moving around down here in the front. There's a King Kong down here in the front. Let me turn on the whiteboard. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, he run off. As soon as I turned on the whiteboard. Let me see here. All right, I got to turn off the whiteboard. Then we got to go back a little bit in the video. Let's see. Oh, yeah. There we go. Right there. Turn on the whiteboard. Crystal shrimp right here. That arrow sucks. He ran down into the bushes down there. But I did get some crystal shrimp from Brian's Fish Tanks in Minnesota, and I also got some crystals from some of those King Kongs from King Lee from Twin City Guppies. If you guys haven't seen Twin City Guppies, you guys go check out his channel. He's awesome. I love that guy. And that's another person I can't wait to go see at the Aquatic Experience. I found out they're going to be there which is awesome, and that's going to be tons of fun. Hopefully I get to hang out with Kang. We'll see. Hopefully I get time. Morgan Sprott says, I'm looking to put CO2 into my planted 20 long, and I was wondering if there was a CO2 regulator that anyone would really recommend over the others. It would be my first time trying CO2 in any of the tanks. Actually, believe it or not, I'm actually going to be testing a new CO2 setup fairly soon. This one's sold out. So let me see. Hold on. Dual stage. That one's sold out. Let me see. Why is everything sold out? Well, either way, I'm going to be testing out some of these products that the Aquarium Co-op is carrying right now, which are apparently sold out. Both of these regulators, for whatever reason, are sold out. But it's the CO2 Art brand. Those ones are the ones I'm going to be trying out. The current ones that I have right now, I can actually... let me find it. It's... let me find it real quick. It's in the store. It's in my Amazon store. Yeah, here we go. I've used this one. Copy. So I've used this one right here. It's actually available on Amazon. It's like $70. That's kind of one of the cheaper ones. Here's the one that I use right now. Is actually this one. This is the Aquatech one that I use right now. Though I'm not unhappy with it, but I have noticed that some pressure variance with using multiple outlet on it is a little bit problematic. So that has kind of been an issue. And so I'm going to be testing one of these other regulators fairly soon to see how it goes and whether or not it'll be able to hold out. As you guys know, I run multiple tanks off of one system, so it's going to be important moving forward. And then one of the other things I was looking at is this little Neo diffuser right here. I was talking to let's see, what size is this? Large. Okay. The copy. Sorry, I have to change the link. Takes a second. But this is the... Come on now. Work. Okay. This is the diffuser I was actually looking at. George Farmer was telling me about these, and I was kind of interested to try them out, and now he's been using them for about a year. So I'm kind of interested in those CO2 diffusers that he's been using. I'm going to try one of these and see if I like it versus the reactor. So I'm going to do some side-by-side testing there to see what's up with that diffuser, whether or not I like it, if it's going to work well, if it's more accommodating for most people, and see how it goes. Let's see. Cardi B is here. Is it the actual Cardi B? I don't even know who Cardi B is other than by one of the podcasts I listen to. They bring up Cardi B and talk about her a lot. I think it's a her. I don't know. But that's funny. Let's see here. Dan's wondering, Dan Squires, one of our moderators, showing up late, wondering if we missed anything. No, I wouldn't worry about it. You didn't miss anything. You know, just all the good stuff. Because we are coming up on the end of the show. I don't even know what happened with the video portion. I never even really talked about it all that much. I've just been kind of answering people's questions because you guys got a bunch of awesome questions. So that's really kind of how it goes sometimes. Like, if you guys show up and you got a bunch of cool questions, I'm just going to answer them. If you guys are being super engaging, I'm just gonna do my best to answer your questions. I can't even answer questions about my own aquarium. Apparently, Candy was asking me about a plant, and I can't even remember what it is. It's not there. It'll probably pop into my head as soon as I log out, though. Let's see. Aiden Payne says, Oliver Johnson, you could try to have a DIY CO2 citric acid version would probably be better. And then have going to a tube as a super glue to top of upside down bottle. Yeah, you could definitely do that. Let's see, back in 2008. I'm a million years old, you guys. Back in 2008, I used to make my own CO2. I used to make it with yeast and sugar and all that. Not that difficult for a guy like me, classically trained chef right here. It wasn't that difficult for me, but it was a big pain to have to go to the store and buy sugar and buy yeast all the time, and that's just a nightmare as far as I'm concerned. I'm not somebody who has a lot of time to just be driving around going to stores and buying sugar, so that always ended up into problems, you know what I mean? So and so I just decided to stop doing that, and it really ends up saving me money. I found the first CO2 systems that I used. I found all of the parts on Craigslist for super cheap. The first tanks I found, the first regulators I found, were all sourced on Craigslist. Craigslist, Facebook, anything like that. I would definitely go for it. If you can. Fishy Snowman's asking, do I run CO2 with shrimp? Yes, 100%. I always do. I always run CO2 with shrimp. There's just really no reason for me not to, personally. So it's just kind of, I'm going to run my tanks with CO2, so it's kind of weird to not breed my shrimp in an environment that's healthy for them while I'm still doing CO2. If I'm running a healthy tank with plants and all that kind of stuff, it should be a healthy tank for my shrimp. So, I find it to be beneficial. And I find that if I got my CO2 system on a timer properly with the lights coming on and off properly, then it's just not an issue. They breed like crazy and do the things that they got to do. Miss Lininator's got to go watch a conservative televised Tennessee rally. Well, good luck with that. Hopefully it's good. HC Aqua would start with a DIY CO2 just to get comfortable, but then you'll eventually want a real CO2 system. You could do the DIY thing. I found it to be just a monumental waste of time. Having to, like I said, go to get more yeast, go to get this, go to get that, having to re-glue things onto stuff. It just really did turn into a big waste of time for me, and the inconsistent nature of it. Sometimes it's working awesome, and then it just slowly dies out. I do find that the actual CO2 systems are much more beneficial to me because of the consistency of, it's going to do CO2 at the time that I want it to do it. And I don't have to constantly go back and mess with it. When I constantly have to go back and mess with my tanks for the stuff. Andy just showed up and said, sorry for whatever my brother said when I was in the washroom. Yeah, he was just spamming, and we gave you a timeout. Don't worry about that. He didn't say anything bad. But that's good to know. It's good to know. Most people don't normally come back and be like, oh, no, somebody stole my phone. But as you guys know, on the show here, everybody gets, most everybody gets 3 strikes. We have a list of people, if not only in my head, I do have a list of people in the notes somewhere. And not to mention the moderators know who's a troublemaker and who's not, and most of you aren't. Every once in a while somebody shows up. I've noticed that YouTube has YouTube just smashed the bots. There used to be bots that used to come into chat all the time to talk about going to their sites and going to this site and going to that site, and I think YouTube is just Put the kibosh on that hardcore. So it's pretty rare that we have to ban people anymore, but you know. Creed Morse, real talk, Joel. Do you sleep with product in your hair or wash it out nightly? I sleep with product in my hair. I'm too old to care. As you guys know, I pointed out that I got some zits going strong. This probably has something to do with it, you know. But I'm gonna be somebody's dad, so what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do? Fishy Snowman says, I just made a reactor. Can't wait to set it up. Yeah, I love building reactors. It's one of my favorite things. Jason R says, is there any risk or issue or risk getting a CO2 tank filled or swapped from different sources? Welding shops, for example. I know there's a food beverage quality, but is it a factor? Food and beverage quality is not a factor. Just go to the weld shops. It's the same thing. It's all kind of a marketing deal, basically. Somebody asked about it a few months ago, so I ended up looking into it and got far too deep down the rabbit hole. I even called some people that I know that supply CO2 for restaurants versus the weld shops, and they're like, it's the same thing in there. It's just that one has a sticker for this and one has a sticker for that, so they know where they're going, essentially. So I go to weld shops. I get mine swapped out at a welding shop because it's the quickest and most economically stingy way. Economically friendly way. There we go. Yeah, so that's the deal. Oliver Johnson, advice on how to raise calcium for shrimp and snails. Dan Squires already answered it. Crush coral. That'd be the main way. That'll bring it up. That'll bring it up nice and slow and kind of consistent, and it will be the easiest way to get it, and more often than not, the cheapest way. But on my big tanks, occasionally I add a Wonder Shell. If you've ever seen Wonder Shell, it's something that's been around since like the 60s or something like that, and I think the packaging is exactly the same. Wonder Shell is pretty cool and works pretty well to kind of jump it up if I notice that it's gotten really low. You know, because as I got pretty big tanks, they sometimes get all the way. They get down, and I need to bring them up pretty quickly because of how big the tanks are. So, you know, but crushed coral generally is going to be the best way for you, so it's not going all super crazy up and down. All right, guys. I just got a message from Vicky. I need to give her a call. So we're going to cut this show short a little bit. We also, 40 people left already, so it must be something going on. I don't know. Something's going on. If you guys missed Jeff Rose, he was in the chat earlier today. If you haven't checked out Jeff Rose, he'll be live tonight. I would go check out Jeff Rose live stream. I'll be in there probably chatting and whatnot because I'll probably be at the vet. I'll be at the vet when that's going on, right? You know. But he's doing a Monday stream, so check out the Monday stream on Jeff Rose channel if you get a chance. And then I got to go call Vicky. So I love you guys. Have a fantastic night. Don't light off any fireworks. If you don't have the notification bell turned on, there's a new video coming out tomorrow. There's a new video out this weekend, so you should have checked that out. You should have shared it with every single person you've ever met in your entire life, right? Of course you did. Of course you shared it out with every person you've ever met, because that's how we roll around here. But tomorrow will be a crayfish hunting story is coming out tomorrow. It features myself. It features Chris Lukup. It has Corey from the Aquarium Co-op. It has Schwisky from the Schwisky Vision channel. It has Aquapros from the Aquapros channel. It's got all of us in it. It's kind of wacky. Guys, let me know. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you don't like it. I'm interested, but it'll be coming out early tomorrow morning, my time. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how we do. Anyhow, love you guys. Be safe tonight. Don't shoot off any fireworks. Don't get too ridiculous. And if CJ would quit hiding this button, I'm going to go ahead and talk to y'all later.